Okay, Dave, Pam, you want to start out? You want to say something before we get going?
Okay, welcome everybody. It is April 5th. It is Wednesday with Wallach. We thank you so much for joining us. And if you're not able to join us live, then we do send out these in an email so they can listen to the recording. So tonight we'd like to talk a few things about connective tissue. There's so many different things that we have issues with, and Dr. Wallach has done a lot of research from the time that he was 9 years old when they told him that he was going to be locked up for having Tourette syndrome. So we're so grateful that he found that situation and was able to reverse it, and I'd like to introduce you to him tonight, Dr. Joel Wallach.
Okay, well, thank you, Pam, and thank you, Dave, and thank you, team. And yeah, connective tissue makes up a large portion of the body. The skin is the biggest connective tissue organ in the body. Okay, 2/3 of its thickness is connective tissue, and you can get psoriasis. You get let's see here, you get all kinds of stuff going on with your skin. Psoriasis, of course, is one, and you get all kinds of itchy things and ulcers and blisters and so forth. When you get things like lupus, you get psoriasis, which is a skin problem. You get IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which is gluten in the intestines. You get brain problems. It could be like multiple sclerosis or Alzheimer's disease, all easily reversible. We'll get to that in a minute. And then, of course, you have things like the connective tissue between your vertebrae, called disc. If you don't have all the right raw materials, those discs decompose, they shrink, and the vertebrae get closer together and cause pain and so forth. When you have osteoporosis of the skull because you have a problem, you don't have enough of the nutrition to make bone matrix. Even in your skull needs bone matrix and for the minerals to sit on. When you have osteoporosis of the skull because you don't have enough bone matrix in your skull, we have a book and a CD set. It's called It's All in Your Head. And page 6, Roman numeral number 6, it goes into, it shows a picture of a normal skull. It's a 1/4 inch thick. And then it shows you a picture of a skull with osteoporosis. It's 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. You see where it'd be squeezing the nerves and squeezing the spinal cord and all that kind of stuff. And some of the side effects of having osteoporosis is there's 37 different diseases. Okay. And we have this book, It's All in Your Head. Again, the top one is a normal skull, 1/4 inch thick. Bottom one's osteoporosis skull. It's 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. And there's 37 different diseases, 17 of which are from the skull down your spinal cord. And people, they call me all the time. My doctor says I've got all this stuff going on in my legs and when I amputate my toes, but they take all these x-rays, there's nothing wrong with my back and there's nothing wrong with my toes. So why do I have all this pain in my back and my toes? Well, do you have any ringing in your ears? Well, yeah. Okay. Do you have any dizziness? Yeah. Well, what about how many times you wake up at night to urinate? Oh, 5, 10 times. That's because your skull is squeezing the spinal cord. The spinal cord is telling your urinary bladder to urinate. And since you're a girl, the doctor can't say we need to do a biopsy of your prostate gland because you're waking up so much to urinate. Girls don't have prostate glands. And that's when I said, oh, there's something going on here that doctors don't know about. And so I went back, in my autopsies, I went back and started looking at stuff and figured out that there was osteoporosis of the skull, which doctors never talked about. When you have osteoporosis in the knees, they want to give you a double knee replacement. You have osteoporosis of your hips, they want to give you a double hip replacement. You want to do all this back surgery and amputate your toes and your fingers and that kind of stuff. Okay. Well, guess what? If you take your 90 essential nutrients and stay away from the bad stuff so you can absorb it, you'll eliminate all these issues. Now, there's 12 chapters in this book. It's a small book. Okay. And let's see here. Like I say, there's a CD that goes along with it. The supplements you need to take to prevent and reverse the osteoporosis of the skull. The supplement program is on the CD and it's also in the book. Okay. And so it's one of those things where the information's there. Okay. And so everybody needs to have, if you buy 10 of these, you get a nice discount. All right. And you have to buy them at the same time. You can't buy 2 a month for 5 months. You got to buy 10 at the same time. You get a nice discount. They make a great present. Okay. You can sell them to the bookstore at the colleges and the high schools. You can sell them to the bookstores at medical schools. You can sell them to the bookstores at pharmacies. You can sell them to any place, schools, high schools, junior high schools. Everybody needs to know this information. We can add 25 to 50 healthful, pleasant years to their life by doing that. And then there's another book. This one is my newest book. Okay. You've seen this before, The Wallach Revolution. It's a 75-year track record from the time I'm 5 until just a couple of months ago. 75-year track record of major discoveries. Now we've done over 600 different discoveries. Okay. But we didn't put all 600 of them in here, but the major things that afflict so many people are in here, how to detect them and what to do for them to prevent them and what to do when you have them to get rid of them. Okay. It's on the book, The Wallach Revolution. And like I say, this is a 75-year track record. Let me tell you, this book is flying off the shelf. They make great gifts. And when you give them away as a gift, if you're in the longevity business as a business, guess what? It becomes a tax deduction to advertise your business. Be sure to put a stamp with your phone number and your address in there, or staple your card to the first page, and you get to deduct the cost of those books, okay, as a advertisement if you give them away. All right. So with all that said, I want to remind everybody that we can get rid of arthritis. It's not a genetic thing, or even rheumatoid arthritis is not a genetic thing or autoimmune thing. Rheumatoid arthritis is simple nutritional deficiency arthritis with a secondary infection with a bug called mycoplasma, okay, which is curable with an antibody called minocycline, like the little bait fish, minnow, okay? And so you have to get rid of all the bad stuff so you can maximize absorption. You take the healthy brain and heart pack or the healthy bone and joint pack, 1 per 100 pounds of body weight each, okay? And then you take the MSM, 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And if you weigh 150, 200 pounds, I go with 3 times a day to, again, help rebuild cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue. Don't forget the collagen peptides. Scuba that with your morning drink, scuba that with your evening drink. That's collagen from fish and poultry and sheep and beef. And then don't forget vitamin D3. Even if you live in Florida, most people don't get in a bikini and lay out in the sun 3 hours every day. So you need to take the vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. Make sure you're absorbing all the minerals and putting them in the right place. And you will reduce your risk of osteoporosis. Osteoporosis, let me tell you, the medical doctors love osteoporosis. We pay them every year in America alone, just for treatment of symptoms of osteoporosis, $2.3 trillion with a T, $2.3 trillion. Arthritis, which is osteoporosis of the joints, we spend $626.8 billion. So if you have arthritis and osteoporosis, or treating for both, that ramps up the cost to America just to treat the symptoms of osteoporosis and arthritis to $3 trillion a year. Who gets that? Does your church get that money? No. Does your school get the money? No. Well, the doctors get the money, okay, for diseases preventable and curable with nutrition. So it seems to me that $3 trillion is a little expensive. So connective tissue is very easy, but it makes up things like heart valves, tendons, ligaments, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix. In other words, all your bones are not poured concrete. There's this connective tissue, and the connective tissue sits on, the minerals sit on the connective tissue. And if you don't have the connective tissue, you can't make or rebuild bones. So you have to have that connective tissue there, and that's why you need the connective tissue, okay? And that's why we have the healthy bone and joint pack. That's why we have the MSM. That's why we have the collagen peptides, okay? And that's why we have the healthy bone and joint pack. This is very common, but it's easy to prevent and easy to reverse, okay? Give us 90 days before you decide to have your knees double replacement. Give us 90 days before you have a double hip replacement. Give us 90 days before you have your leg amputated and give you an artificial limb. Give us 90 days first on our program. And propensity of people, if you're doing all the right stuff and staying away from the bad food and maximize absorption, guess what? The odds of you needing those surgeries reduces to almost 0. So this is not difficult to make that decision because the benefit goes to you. You save the money, you save the misery, and you add many healthful years to your life. And the record in the industrialized nation for longevity was a French woman, Jean Calment. She died in 1970. Let me take that back. She died in 1990. She died in 1997. Okay. Yeah, 1997. Okay, at 122 years, 164 days. 1997, 122 years, 164 days. Okay. And of course, medical doctors, their life expectancy is somewhere, you know, in athletes is like 57.3. Billionaires in America, their life expectancy is 66.7. Why is that? That's because they all have trainers who are teaching them how to exercise, but don't teach them how to supplement to protect themselves, their heart and their lungs and their liver and their bones and connective tissue and so forth. You have to do this and you will be blessed. Okay, let's see here. Dave and Pam, Laura, let's go to callers.
Okay, I have a question here, Dr. Wallach. So I have a couple that one woman has been dealing with cancer treatments and she's experienced some great results. And her husband just had one of his toes removed. And I would like to know what you would do for him. He is, I believe, diabetic and about 200 pounds, 6 foot. And he's, you know, going through recovery now, but is bleeding. And I just wondered, he's still having pain. What would you suggest?
Okay, well, 200 pounds and diabetic. Do we know anything else? Does he have arthritis? Does he have anything like that?
I'm not sure. Just the pain from the toe.
Okay, but they amputated the toe, so there's a circulation problem or something. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no brown rye oats, no buckwheat, absolutely no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go, and absolutely no carbonated water, because carbonation neutralizes stomach acid, so you cannot absorb nutrition, digest food, cannot absorb minerals and all that kind of stuff. Don't do that. Okay. And then at 200 pounds, I want him to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, full dose thing twice a day. I want him to have 2 bottles a month of the MSM, so he can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. I want him to take 2 scoops a day, 1 at breakfast, 1 at dinner time of the collagen peptides. It'll be 2 of these little canisters of the collagen peptide per month, so it can rebuild the cartilage and ligaments and tendons and all that kind of stuff. But because he has, you say diabetes, is that correct?
Yes, I had.
Okay, so he needs to have 3 scoops, or not, let me back up, 3 tablets of sweeties, okay, twice a day. He can take it 3 times a day if he wants, so it would be faster. Don't cold turkey off his medication, but as his blood sugar drops, he can slowly reduce his medication based on the numbers. Usually it takes 2 to 6 weeks, and they're next diabetic. I take people who are on dialysis, they're diabetic, they haven't urinated in 10 years, they're on dialysis 6 days a week, and in 6 weeks' time, they don't have diabetes anymore, they're not on dialysis anymore, and they go back to a normal life. Well, how long do they have to stay on all these nutrients? Forever. How long do you need oxygen? Forever. How long do you need these nutrients? Forever. This is not a difficult choice, okay? Because if you're in trouble with joint problems, you're in trouble with problems with diabetes, and you have maybe artery problems, you're not going to live to be 90, 100 years old. Okay. Do we know how old this guy is?
Not even 60.
Okay, so he's 45, 50 years old.
About 50.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's in trouble because he's missing a lot of stuff. Wouldn't hurt for him to get that book, Rare Earths and Cures. Go to page 272 and look at chapters 10 and 11. It'll tell him how to collect hair, how to package it, where to ship it. Don't forget to put the check in there because the lab won't run the test without the check. And it'll tell him what nutrients he's missing. It'll tell him what toxic metals he's got. Okay, but we put him on a program that covers all these bases, but it wouldn't hurt for him to know from a hair analysis just how bad shape he's in, because we deal with over 600 different health issues. we deal with over 600 different diseases. We have 5,000 products to deal with them. And so getting that hair analysis will, you know, just like you take your car in and they do all this testing on the machine and all that kind of stuff. You don't need a doctor's permission to get a hair analysis. You don't need a doctor's permission to do that. Okay. And you get the chart back, and some of these labs, they will, of course, let's see here, the book, Rare Herbs and Cures, you know, will tell you where to send all this stuff. Okay. And sometimes these labs are busy and they send it to another lab. But if they do, sometimes these labs will send you a list of their vitamins and minerals. Don't take their vitamins and minerals. You know, they only have, you know, they might have a multiple with maybe 12 nutrients in it. Our multiples have 215 nutrients in it. We're a totally different animal. So what you want to do is, if they do send you some samples or so forth, give the samples to your dog. If they just send you literature, put it to the side, and then check with us and see what we say. Okay. And we don't charge you anything for our consultation. We give you the information for free. Doctors will charge you an office call. Okay. And so it's one of those things where with us, it's a win-win-win-win-win situation.
Fantastic. I thank you for the office call here tonight. Every Wednesday we do this, so I'm grateful for that. And so would he be able to soak his feet in the minerals? The plain?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can soak his feet in the minerals, or he can just have somebody help him rub it on his back. He can rub it on his belly. You absorb the minerals through the skin. We do this all the time for people who are unconscious. They're not on IVs. They're not on tubes. We can, you know, G tubes, we can put the liquid minerals in, and we just rub the minerals on them and they absorb them, and their problems go away because they absorb the minerals through the skin. The skin is you know, the skin again is a connective tissue organ, but it has lots of circulation. And of course, we do also have the hair, skin, and nails. If they have something going on in their skin, they can get our hair, skin, and nails and take 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. That's in addition, okay, to the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets and the MSM and that kind of stuff. If they have a lot of skin problems, they're losing hair, going bald, they're 35 years old and their hair's turning silver, white, and gray. A hair color change and hair loss is not an aging thing, it's a nutritional deficiency. And we take people who are in their 70s and 80s and 90s, have white hair, and we get them on the program, and within 3 months' time, their hair color is the same as it was when they were 12 years old. Okay. People are saying, "Are you dyeing your hair, Fred?" No. I'm not dyeing my hair. I don't know. My hair color just came back. Okay. That's because they were taking the minerals.
Great stuff. Doc, I do remember you talking about somebody who was in the hospital and they rubbed the minerals on them. Could you share that story about that?
Yeah, this is Pastor Mike Freeman, and we have this. I just had another very similar story told to me today. Okay, very similar. And Pastor Mike Freeman, you know, he was in a coma for, I don't know, months, and the doctors told his family that, look, he's only got a couple of hours or days to live here, so you better come say your goodbyes. And we have a distributor up there who was a member of his church, Linda Tyler. And so if you've been in the business, you know her. And so at any rate, she calls me up and says, "Is there any way we can help this guy here, this pastor?" I say, "Does he have a G tube?" No. They took his IVs away. Okay. Well, let's just get the plant minerals. You know, she says, "I have some, no problem." I said, "Okay, well, let's take the plant minerals and rub 2 cups of two half a cups of the plant-derived minerals on his chest and belly, and again on his back 3 times a day on the front and 3 times a day on the back." And the 3rd day, he wakes up. This pastor wakes up. They've been in this coma for months or weeks or whatever it was. Okay. And he shaves. He goes to the church. He goes to the the studio for the church TV and radio, and he spends 12 hours there telling the world his experience of coming through from being in this coma and having his wife and Linda Tyler rubbing the nutrients on him, and he came out of it. And so he made a tool out of that because he recorded it, fortunately. It's called Praise the Lord and Pass the 90. Praise the Lord and Pass the 90. Everybody needs to have that set. Praise the Lord and Pass the 90. It's a DVD and a CD. And it's Pastor Mike telling the story. Okay. And it's crazy. But we do this now hundreds of times a month all over the world. Because
That's fantastic, Doctor. Thank you so much for that.
praise the Lord and pass the 90. If you're in the military, you know what that means. It's like praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Same principle.
Thank you, Dr. Well, I appreciate that. Laura, you do have a question. Go ahead.
I do. Hi, Doc. So
Sure.
along the same lines of applying the minerals to the skin, which I'm really intrigued about. I'm curious to know why those three spots. You said the sternum, the belly button, and the back between the shoulder blades. Is there any particular reason why you would select those?
Well, let's see here. I don't want them rubbing them on the legs. Okay, because you know, circulation might not be good there. When you rub them on the belly and the back, there's plenty of circulation in the trunk. Okay, and it's a circulation access.
I see. That's
a good question. That's a good question, because the first thing you'd think, well, why don't you rub them on the legs? You know, just have him lay there and rub it on his legs.
Yeah.
And we tried that when people had arthritis. We weren't getting the good results as we did when we rubbed it on the belly and the back.
That's excellent. So, and how long do you do it for? So you said 3 times a day. How long? About 20 minutes?
Well, once the skin absorbs it, you don't need to rub it anymore. Usually 3 to 5 minutes, it'll absorb it very quickly. It doesn't, doesn't lay there in a puddle for hours. It absorbs these minerals very quickly. And one of those things where this is also good for little babies. When little babies get sick and get the cough and the croup and everything, put a teaspoon of the minerals on their belly and rub that in, and they'll giggle and all that kind of stuff, and they like that. Okay, and they're going to get those nutrients that way. And so, but just do like a half a teaspoon or teaspoon for a little kid on the belly, and let them lay on their belly and rub another half a teaspoon on their back. Do that twice a day, and it's going to speed up their healing because it supports the immune system. Your minerals go to your bone marrow, and your bone marrow makes white blood cells and antibodies and platelets and red blood cells and so forth. So it all kind of works together.
No, that's great. Okay, so last question. You said 2.5 cups is what you used on the pasta, right?
Yes.
And that would be for the whole day? That would be the total on the whole day, or?
Well, see, 2.5 cups. Okay. That's 3 times a day on the belly, and again 3 times a day on the back.
Okay.
So 2.5 cups on the back. So like half a cup, a half a cup, a half a cup. Got it? Half a cup, half a cup, half a cup.
Okay.
Okay. And that's every day. And the reaction is a miracle. I just had one, they called me today. They said this guy was really in trouble, had heart issues, and doctors wanted to do a heart transplant, probably osteoporosis of the skull. And they got him for just 24 hours rubbing the plant minerals in him. He wakes up, he's perfectly normal to look at in activity, and he takes our distributor. He said, sign me up, and took the distributor out to dinner.
Great. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. The other night we were listening to the oils call, and I think it was maybe Brett Bashawati was speaking that they're putting, lymphatic support and the minerals, the good herb support on the feet. And so once it soaks into the foot, you no longer need to keep putting it on there because it'll start pooling up and it's got enough. It's like we have wet puddles all over our yard, so it can't take any more in. So as it keeps soaking into the body, it'll absorb it. Once you have the minerals or the oil sitting on your skin, it no longer needs any more.
Well, no, you still need it. But you
Well,
take it.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say you don't need it anymore. No, that's not true. You need the minerals until 12 hours after you die. Why 12 hours until 12 hours after you die? Because like Pastor Mike, the doctors may be declaring you dead, and you put the minerals on and you wake up. And so don't give up. Okay, when people are really, really sick and unconscious and the doctors are saying, okay, this is the end, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the room because there's only minutes left here. Well, this is my husband, this is my dad, I'm gonna stay with him, I'm gonna hold his hand as he passes. But you put the minerals on him, and a lot of times he'll wake right back up.
Hey, Doc, tell us the story of the gal that they opened the morgue drawer and they slid her body out and she sat up and she said, "Oh my God, thank you! I thought I was in there forever." What was that story?
Yeah, well, that you just said the whole story. There's not much more to the story. If she had died, what they said was a heart attack. She had died of, quote, a heart attack, and she was put into a coffin, all the services and all this, that, and the other. And, they put her in the morgue. And the guys hear that was her banging on the door of her coffin. Get me out of here. So
So that's what you mean when you say 12 hours after you die.
Yep. That's why I always say that, because doctors are human. They make mistakes. They're in a hurry, and they don't sit there and hold the patient's hand as they die. They say, okay, they send the nurse in every 15 minutes. Oh, she passed 10, 12, 15 minutes ago. Okay. Well, is that true? It wasn't true for that guy who last night woke up this morning and took the distributor out for dinner and signed up.
Praise the Lord.
Praise
Thank
the
you, Dr. Wallach, for that. And so, right, so I really did mean to say that for that moment to absorb into the skin, they're okay, but maybe 2 hours later, you might want to apply the minerals or the oils again. So we have Dia has a question. You want to go ahead and unmute, Dia?
Okay, yeah, is this Theo?
Dia, we
Do
have
you
two
hear me?
minutes
Theo,
left.
okay.
I unmuted, I thought, but I wanted to know, Peggy wanted to know if she can put, how much she can put into that tube, feeding tube, the minerals. Will it hurt to put,
I'm missing something. I didn't hear what she said.
pardon me?
She's talking down to the floor. She's not talking in the phone. I can't hear what she's saying.
Oh, I'm asking how much of the minerals that you can put into the feeding tube. Can you put too much?
Well, of course, you can put too much of anything in a feeding tube. Okay. But I start out, if you're talking about a feeding tube that goes down the throat, I'd start out with
Yeah.
a teaspoon. A teaspoon.
A teaspoon?
Mhm. I would
Okay.
I'd do that 2, 3, 4 times a day.
Okay. All right. I think she was putting about an ounce, and I was
That's
saying, well, I
fine.
need.
An ounce, well,
Huh.
and a teaspoon's pretty close to an ounce.
Okay then. All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, it's that time. I cannot thank you all enough for all you do. The good Lord loves you. The good Lord loves all the good work you're doing. And the beat goes on. We're going to be needed and necessary forever and ever, long after we're gone. So you need to be bringing up new folks, your family, church mates, workmates, neighbors, strangers, get them all involved, because this is an endless process. We require these nutrients, and you cannot get them from your food. Once we went to electricity, and the whole story is, okay, and here, when we went for electricity, there was no more wood ashes and no more coal ashes to put in our gardens, where we're getting our minerals for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Once we went to electricity, suddenly now there was no more wood ashes and coal ashes. There was no more bottomland. And so there was no more minerals in our food. And that's why we got all these strange diseases nobody had ever seen before, because there are mineral deficiencies, because all the sources of our minerals were gone after we went to electricity. Electricity has been the biggest boogeyman. Electricity, the side effects of electricity has killed more human beings in all the wars we've been involved in since written history. You cannot
Yes,
get all
sir.
the minerals, you cannot get all the minerals you need just by eating well. Nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around across the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. Plants do not make minerals. Plants make vitamins, amino acids, and fatty acids, but plants cannot make minerals. Plants only need 3 minerals. Do you think farmers put 100 nutrients in the soil? No, they put 3 minerals in the soil. They get paid by tons of bushels. Okay,
Thank you, Dr. Wallach.
Thank
We
you, Doc.
appreciate
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.
thank you guys.
coming, everybody. Have a great week. See you next Wednesday.
Thank you, you guys too. See you next
Bye.
week. Bye.
Have a
Good
good night.
night.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.